If you were to visit the Warships subreddit, the Discord, or really any comment section of a video concerning the game that's been put up in the past 4 or 5 years, you will probably find a few Reddit threads, Discord chats, or YouTube comments talking about how the game has become more and more boring and passive over the years. And that, sure, is definitely something that has been happening. If you play at higher tier, you'll be, well, not surprised to find that you'll be sitting at like 18, 17 kilometers for a good chunk of the game. And you'll do that for 2 or 3 matches in a row. Every now and then you might have a match where you might get to use your secondary guns. And we're talking about, ships with secondary ranges out to 12.5 kilometers, right? You might get to fire some of those bad boys off every now and then, or if you really know what you're doing, you can get it to happen a little bit more often. But yes, the game has become more and more passive as time has gone on. Why? Well, there's a number of reasons that get thrown out. Of course, anytime this topic comes up for discussion, you could point the finger at submarines, them, terrifying surface ships to stay in the back and huddle together. You could also point the finger at CVs and say, well, you have to huddle together for AA now, right? So everyone wants to sit in the back and huddle together for AA. You could even point the finger at super ships and say, well, of course we're sitting in the back at 20 kilometers because there's that Satsuma thing over there that's going to nuke me off the face of the map if I even dare venture a little bit forward. Is it any one of those 3 types of ships' fault? Maybe not any one, but combined, yeah, and of course with some decisions that the devs have made over the years that, of course, has influenced this progression, shall we say. But to their credit, too, they've tried to kind of yank it back. We got the Schlieffen line of battle cruisers, the British battle cruisers that are better at mid-range, too, the Spanish cruisers that are more mid-range focused and stuff. But however they have tried, it hasn't really changed too much at higher tier. But there is a very simple solution if you do want that more mid-range combat itch and you want to play a little bit closer, a little bit more aggressively, and just have that good old fun thing that we've kind of forgotten. That's the whole purpose of a video game, right? It's to have fun. We all get tired of going about our daily lives and we escape into the pixels of the interwebs in order to, escape from that and have fun. You can do that by just stopping what you're doing and playing a different tier. You don't even have to really change it up that much, because if you drop your tier on down to tier 7, tier 6-ish, you'd be surprised with how much better a time you're going to have there. Now, do tier 6 and tier 7 have their own issues? Yes, absolutely. That is 100% true. There are going to be some matches that are pretty miserable in tier 6 and tier 7 games, but overall, it's a lot better. Like the background footage you're watching right now is sent in by one Lumpy. He has a ton of fun, as I'm sure you'll be able to see as this game progresses in the background, right? When was the last time you saw a high tier game where something like this happened, where you get a group of ships together, you push the objective, and, well, things happen, and it actually goes kind of well. You have fun in the process, right? Does he end up at the end of the game with a ton of damage done? No, it's not all really about damage done, right? At higher tier, maybe so. Why? Well, because the economy at higher tier is a lot more brutal, right? You got to make enough credits to cover the repair cost of your ships, and when you're getting into tier 8, tier 9, and tier 10 categories, when it comes to the economics, right? The economics are a lot more brutal, and you have to ensure you earn enough credits in order to cover those repair costs. Well, tier 7 and tier 6, you can kind of still just smack W, and you'll probably make enough credits to cover your repair cost. Heck, even when I went through the game for the first time, I didn't start losing credits until tier 8. And this is, again, when I started with no premium time, no economic bonus, well, signal flags back in the day, right? And it wasn't until, late tier 8 that I was not really doing so well. The North Carolina was upgraded and such, so I had the added expenditures of having the upgraded hull and such on the North Carolina. And if I had a bad game, I'd lose money. But even then, you could still probably squeeze on by at tier 8 standards. But by tier 7 standards, who cares? Again, you can just kind of derp in there and make money and cover your repair costs and still probably make a profit by the end of it. So you don't really have to worry about that at tier 7 and tier 6, even if you want to drop it all the way down to tier 5 for sure. But the engagement ranges are just so much closer still at tier 7, tier 6, and tier 5. Why? Well, because naturally by being mid-tier ships, you don't really have the range or the accuracy to sit back out at 18, 19, 20 kilometers and snipe for days. It doesn't really happen, right? I mean, battleships at tier 7, the most accurate ones that you can really think of, the Colorado and such. The sniper battleships by this tier standards are, playing from medium to close range by tier 10 standards. And in addition to that as well, tier 7 is in kind of a nice spot because of the super ships. While super ships have essentially ruined tier 9 matchmaking, they have improved tier 7 matchmaking in terms of up-tiering. Getting up-tiered is, of course, a pretty miserable time by anybody's measurement, right? It's never fun to be in a ship that's 2 tier lowers than the ship that you're having to go up against, right? You have a lot of disadvantages there, especially when you're talking about, like, battleships and their caliber and the armor and such, then cruisers with their DPM, destroyers with their concealment and such. Those factors do make it a little suckish, right? But tier 7 ships are finding themselves to be mid and top tier a lot more thanks to super ships. And, that's been the way from some time now, right? But it's only gotten better for these tier 7 ships because more and more super ships have been introduced into the game. The player base has demonstrated that they are fine with playing ridiculous repair fees and such to play these super ships. So they're not really going anywhere anytime soon. And if you do play a tier 10 ship, you're probably going to get into a super ship game, and of course that's doubly so with tier 9 because the matchmaker needs to, of course, fill in those slots with tier 9 ships. So you'll find a lot more tier 9 ships getting sucked up in super ship games, and that's still very much the case going forward. So again, tier 7, you're top tier or mid tier a lot more, even tier 6 as well, right? So you have a much more enjoyable time at those tiers. So the engagement ranges are closer. It's a funner time. Economically, it's also better for you. You'll probably make much more profit doing this than trying to, force your way in a tier 8 or tier 9 tech line ship. And speaking of that, I haven't talked about the premium ships yet. There are tons of excellent tier 7 premium ships and tier 6 premium ships that cost a fraction of what you pay for a tier 8 or a tier 9 premium ship, or some you can even get for free, like the Duke of York is a very excellent tier 7 premium ship that you can get completely for free with coal. It's featured in yesterday's video, and of course you have like the Scharnhorst, there's Scharnhorst 43, so forth and so on. So when it comes to premium benefits as well, if you do run premium ships at tier 6, tier 7 as well, it's even more profitable for you because, again, of the cheaper repair cost and such, and the fact that even if you do get up tiered, tier 7 to tier 8 ships, the power disparity and the power gap, if you will, between a tier 7 and a tier 8 ship is a hell of a lot less between a tier 8 and a tier 9 ship, and of course less between a tier 8 and a tier 10 ship, naturally, right? So you have less of a issue with trying to deal with those ships, but yet you still get the economic bonus for doing damage to them with your ship. So you're playing a premium ship at tier 7 that costs you, what does a tier 7 premium cost? Like 30 something US, right? That costs you way less than what a tier 9 or a tier 8 premium does. You're getting the same economic bonuses from the cheaper repair cost, and you're getting the bonus income for doing damage to tier 8 ships, but it's a much more reasonable power gap to try and overcome at that point. So all in all, you can simply have a much better time in the game by just dropping your played tier down from tier 8 plus to tier 7 to tier 6 for a bit. Try it out. It's a lot of fun. It's kind of nice to just kind of turn your brain off and not have to worry about getting sniped by a super ship or whatever for most of the match. Now, of course, do tier 6 and tier 7 games have issues? Naturally so, right? This is where we're right in the middle of, the submarine in CV Fiesta, so you can definitely run into those games where you have 2 CVs or 3 submarines, and yeah, that can happen. No tier is perfect, but if you are tired of the usual high tier slop, drop it on down to tier 6, tier 7, spend a couple of matches there, and it generally is, again, a better time. And like what you see in the background footage, you might accidentally have some fun. Yeah, you may not have 200-something thousand damage done and 6 kills or anything like that, but you can still have that fun thing that we all so often forget to have when playing this game, right? So that's my little commentary opinion piece for today, fellas. Let me know what you guys think about playing at tier 6, tier 7. If you've been finding yourself playing at these tiers a bit more, I have, given recent events and such. So I'm having a great time down here at tier 6 and tier 7 playing. Well, I've been playing a lot of the Hood. She's been kind of okay to me here recently, which is kind of weird because usually the guns don't work out for me, but she's been okay in the past couple of days, but we'll see if that trend continues, fellas. But anyway, let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Hope you guys have a wonderful Wednesday, wonderful rest of your week. Hope to catch you guys in the next one.